Thanks, Riaz. Good morning at 6:30 on the dot. A trucker strike caused big problems at Port Metro Vancouver earlier this year. Now tugboat operators could do the very same. C-SPAN tug workers are holding a strike vote today after the company decided to impose changes to their collective agreement. The workers' contract expired last fall. They could be on the picket line by next week. Workers say C-SPAN is implementing 46 changes that will reduce pay and benefits.
We see it as a total gutting of our collective agreement, and as well a decertification, basically, because if a union can't bargain a collective agreement, why would people have a union? And if they get away with this, it means a tax on all other unions.
C-SPAN says it has been left with no other choice and believes its position does not violate labor laws. The company says the changes are needed to improve its position and ensure future viability. The rotating teachers' strike continues into its second day of its second week, with students in 15 districts not in classes today. Greg Harper joins us live from Burnaby Central Secondary this morning. Greg?
Good morning, Jody. There will be no school here today. This school will be behind a picket line as rotating strikes continue. And here's a list of the districts that are impacted by today's job action. Along with Burnaby, there will be no school in Surrey, North and West Vancouver as well. Some other major districts impacted by today's job action include Chilliwack, the Sunshine Coast, and Prince George. For a full list, you can find that at news1130.com. Some estimates suggest that by the end of the week, about $40 million will have been saved by the province. This from the closure of schools and the 10% cut in teachers' salaries. It's believed school districts will retain 20% of those savings, with the government keeping the rest.
It needs to be set aside to resolve this thing eventually. If it disappears into the general fund, then it's gone onto other projects. But the most prudent course of action for the minister is to keep this money earmarked for the eventual settlement with the TF.
There was no bargaining yesterday. The BCTF and government negotiators are scheduled to meet today and on Thursday and Friday as well. We are expecting a ruling from the Labour Relations Board tomorrow on whether or not the government can cut teachers' salary by 10%. That will be interesting. Tomorrow, too, we could get an announcement from the BCTF if rotating strikes will continue into next week. The president of the union, Jim Eicher, will be here around 7:30, and we'll have the very latest as this labour dispute continues. Jody?
All right, Greg Harper, thank you very much, keeping us informed on this ongoing problem. Greg Harper in Burnaby this hour. The 24-year-old Northern BC man accused of killing 3 women and a teenage girl is back in court today for day 2 of his first-degree murder trial. The Crown outlined some of the case's gruesome details yesterday in a Prince George courtroom. Cody Lejabakov is charged with the killings of 35-year-old Jill Stuchenko, 35-year-old Cynthia Mays, 23-year-old Natasha Montgomery, and 15-year-old Lauren Leslie. The trial is expected to run 6 to 8 months. One person has been arrested after a body was found inside a home in Ashcroft, just west of Kamloops. Police were called out to the scene yesterday morning. One suspect has been taken into custody, but the identity of the victim has not yet been released. Conservation officers are investigating after a dead and mutilated bear was found in Capilano River Regional Park. The carcass of the young bear was found in the brush at the edge of the parking lot near Camp Capilano on Monday of last week. Its claws and skull were removed, and there was a gash down the animal's abdomen. It's not known if any organs were taken. Conservation officers don't know where it was killed or if it was poached, and they're hoping the public can help with the investigation.
Circumstances of the bear carcass's death are undetermined at this point. We don't have any information to suggest that it was harvested at this exact location, so the cause of death is undetermined.
If the bear was unlawfully dumped, the violator could face a fine of $2,000 or more. If it was taken from within the park, there would be charges under the Wildlife Act and perhaps criminal charges as well. The worst city for gridlock in Canada goes to Vancouver. It's according to a survey from Dutch-based GPS company TomTom. It says Vancouver, the average person experiences 87 hours of delay time a year based on a 30-minute daily commute. The study also suggests gridlock on secondary roads is worse than main roads, and commuters around the world spend an average of 8 working days a year stuck in traffic. After Vancouver, says TomTom, the second most congested city in Canada is Toronto.